this is a term that you like or not, but it is out there called the Mollasca move. And basically he's talking about this feeling.
Yeah.
How does he know, Jordan wants to know, how does a player know when they've overdone the Mollasca move?
Well,
Bobby Jones famously said anything good in golf can be
overdone.
Overdone, yeah.
Okay, so if you start watching the path of the club into the ball, you can tell by path.
Like on video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden the club is actually getting out here and it's going this way, you've overdone it.
So it's a feeling of this, but it's not actually the club tipping out there.
No, you've got a weight. So this club is a mass in its force. So you have a weight out there and it's swinging in a circle. And when you change directions, the weight of that club wants to go this way, which is great. That helps hold your right shoulder back, it holds your hip back. But if you just let it keep going, all of a sudden that weight falls behind you too far and it drives your hands out away from you. So to offset that, you have to feel like when you start down that the handle's coming down, the club's going out. It would be like what you see Sergio doing. Sergio is a big example of what it's like to make the handle come down and the club head go out.
But so many people I've heard use Sergio as an example of why they should do this.
Yeah, but see, he's not doing that.
So when you look at Sergio's swing, you're seeing something different than a lot of other instructors. So show me what you're seeing.
If you watch Sergio's club head,
yeah,
he goes up to the top, and when he starts down, the club head goes this way just a little bit, goes just like that.
Yeah.
And then the club head basically stops going down and it goes back up and it goes out this way. Hands are going down and the club head all of a sudden goes this way out in front of him. Because if his hands and the club head kept going to right there, there's no chance we'd ever hurt his Sergio because the club would be so far behind him.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that. If you watch his club, it stops and goes back up and it works this way. So the handle's coming down and he's working the club back out in front of him. I've stood behind him on the range and watched him for hours.
Never in a million years would I thought I would have come out here and had you say Sergio was an example of the Mollasca move.
Yeah, he is. Sergio, when he takes the club, and Sergio's talked about his hands go down.
Yeah, his dad used to tell him he's pulling on a chain.
Down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So his hands go down and the club, his hands don't go forward.
No.
Okay, well, you got to be careful when you start saying shallow the shaft. If you shallow the shaft and your hands go forward and you do it, you're done. See, he doesn't do that. He gets up here and he starts down, he gets up to the top and he starts down and the club goes this way just a little bit and then all of a sudden his hands go faster than the club head and the club head reroutes itself back out in front of his hands, bam, and he catches the face up. Mm-hmm. So if I do that, that's how I start generating more and more speed, is how I use my body and how I use this pivot to accelerate the club rather than dragging it this way and trying to hold this off and square it with my body. It's just a different way to create speed.
You always say the term catching the face up. Where do, in your mind, where is that, what's that coming from?
Well, anytime the club and the club head starts to go this way and the face wants to work that way, at some point in time you're going to have to do something to square and catch the face back up to square.
Right.
The longer...
If it always stays behind you, then it's just, yeah.
Well, you've got to have a lot of this or a lot of body rotation to square the face. Okay. Now, if you're really flexible and you want to put a lot of stress in your lower back, which will tend to happen more than you need, then you can go here and you can try to twist as hard as you want to try to get the club face back to square. Mm-hmm. I'd rather not put any unnecessary force in my body that I don't need relative to creating speed. Okay. I can still hit it plenty far, so can anybody. There's multiple ways for the body to generate speed and force. There's not just one. Yeah. So when people start doing swing methods, okay, fine. Everybody's got their ideas. Try it. I mean, I tell people, I even tell my instructors, you hear somebody teaching, see what they do, go out and try it. See what it does for you. See, if you automatically go, this is really good, it's making me significantly better player, okay, maybe it might be something we want to look into. If it's not, don't stand there for 6 months thinking at some point in time this is going to work. It probably won't. Right. If it doesn't immediately start to make sense to you, or physically you start making more solid impact where you see some drastic improvement, I wouldn't think about spending the next 6 months to a year trying to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, we only get 100 years, so we don't want to waste one of them or half of one of them going down a rabbit hole.
My question to you.
Yeah, right.
And I used to ask this I'm trying to think, Peter Kessler on the Golf Channel.
Yeah,
Peter?
yeah.
One of the best interviewers I've ever been around. I used to ask him, I said, Peter, when you actually go out to hit balls, because he would have 2 or 3 instructors a week that were notable instructors. Yeah. And a lot of times totally different ideas, totally different methods, totally different grips, different setups, different ball. I said, so when you go out to hit a ball, because you still want to play, how's your mind doing?
Yeah.
So Brendan,
yeah,
how's your mind?
You know, at first it was pretty much, it's like a crowded restaurant, you know, or like imagine if you go to the lake and there's a lot of geese there and they're all making a lot of noise. That's kind of what it felt like at first. But now I really have if you've seen that, unlike maybe what Peter was doing, on my channel, I really focus on a certain type of instructor. Basically, I focus on people who have more upper body or hands oriented tasks to do, things to do. So people like Monty and Tony and you and Bobby Lopez and a lot of people. So they're all really similar in that regard. So everything, to me, I can kind of see the through line. When you say certain things, it seems like the same thing, just a different idea of how to do it. So personally for me, what I'm just trying to do is I'm trying to be at the top and I'm just trying to throw, really. And I actually threw my arm out last week trying to do that so hard. I actually did this so hard that it felt exactly like when I used to pitch. Yeah. And threw my arm out. So as we said, anything can be overdone. But
well, that's for sure. Well, so then you've kind of, what you've done then, based on your experience with all these people and what you've seen in a golf swing, you've kind of said, okay, there's a few things that I really feel comfortable with that I seem to see helping people, and there's ways to get that across different ways, which is awesome, because what I did when I first started, when I got really bad, I quit taking lessons and I started reading everything that was out there, starting in the 1800s.
Shut off all voices everywhere.
Shut off voices. I read 1800s. About every 10, 20 years, whoever was the best instructor, I read the book, I've made a list. What was their philosophy of the game? Grip, ball position, aim, backswing, change of directions, impact, follow through. And I wrote down what they believed in those areas, and then I went to the next book, and I went to the next book, and then I went commonalities. So was there anything common in what these guys believed in what the game was? How about grip? How about ball position? And so when I came up through into the 90s at the time, now I had about 30 books over the whole entire time of golf that had been taught, that had been written, and I had all these different books categorized, and I had the common things that they kind of all believed in. Yeah. And I started teaching and researching those common things and how to make them work, and it even started making me better. Yeah. Because nobody really taught all the common things. Everybody had a little twist so they could make it their own, which is fine. I mean, that's marketing. I mean, you have different cell phones, you have different whatever. I mean, they're all pretty much the same, but you got to have to make money and market yourself. So when I started to see that, and then I started to understand the physiology and the physics behind those common things, my students started to get significantly better with a lot less effort, a lot less pressure on them, and I'm going, oh, plus it started to explain what I had as a kid, why I was so good so quick. There's information out there that says that almost everybody, once they start golf, after 2.5 years of playing it fairly seriously, that's about 90% as good as they're ever going to get.
Yeah, that's the statistic that started Be Better Golf, because all of our viewers are basically plateaued golfers. Right.
Most everybody is. Yeah. Okay, so why are they plateaued would be the question. Well, see, I would say that's correct if the things that you're working on require a tremendous amount of hand-eye coordination and a lot of practice to duplicate them under pressure. Yeah. If those things don't, and they play into other things that you do, and they're not that hard to duplicate, hitting the ball should be not that hard to be pretty good at. Now, playing the game is different than just hitting the golf ball. Okay, that's why golf is such a magical game. It's because to learn how to hit the golf ball fairly solid, get it in front of you, and be pretty good at, I don't think is that difficult. But then you take uneven lies, the wind, your emotions, this and that and the other. There's so many variables in golf that don't happen in other sports that make consistently scoring more difficult, because you have to learn how to make adjustments that a lot of other sports don't necessarily have to do. And you're the whole team. You have to play your foul balls. You're the pitcher, the catcher, the first, second, third baseman, outfielder. You're the whole field. And if you have a weakness in your game, it gets exposed because you're the one that's doing it. That's why I think golf is different. Not because the swing is hard or hitting a ball is fairly solid. That should not be that hard to do. we should be able to get people fairly competent at hitting the ball. Then the quest, it becomes the art form of teaching them how to play the game. And that's what we should be focused more on. How do you play golf with what you have? Give them something they understand that they can practice and get better at. Then let's start playing golf, not just standing on the range trying to find a magical swing that's going to work, because there isn't one out there.
Not even the Malaska move?
No.
No, no.
No.
All right, guys, we'll be back with more. You guys can see more about Mike Malaska on his YouTube channel, Malaska Golf. Just search that and you'll see it also linked here. And be sure to subscribe to